Big names and big prices get all the attention, but that's not where the smartest riders are looking. These 7 bikes are criminally underrated, built to last, and priced like a steal. The last one might just outlive everything else in your garage, and for a lower price, to stay tuned to the end. Number 7. Suzuki GS 500. Some bikes don't need introductions, they just get on with the job, quietly, reliably, and without asking for attention. The GS 500 is exactly that kind of machine. It delivers 47 horsepower from a 487 cubic centimeters air-cooled twin-cylinder engine, paired with 33 pound-feet of torque. Braking is handled by a single disc up front and another in the rear, offering modest but predictable stopping power. The suspension features a telescopic fork in the front and a rear monoshock, making it capable enough for daily rides and even light touring. Wet weight lands just under 425 pounds, with most models tipping the scale around 396 pounds. Seat height is a manageable 31.1 inches, allowing both newer and experienced riders to find their footing easily. As for pricing, used examples can often be found between $1,000 and $3,500, depending on condition, mileage, and location. There's a reason the GS 500 was a go-to recommendation for new riders for decades. It's easy to handle, simple to maintain, and forgiving on the wallet. No computers, no traction control, and no complex electronics, just basic engineering done right. With a fuel efficiency that regularly reaches between 50 and 70 miles per gallon, the GS 500 is also one of the most economical motorcycles ever made. Maintenance is famously simple, often summed up as a wrench and a beer kind of project. Whether you're adjusting the valves or changing the oil, this bike was built with garage work in mind, not dealer service fees. But make no mistake, calling it a beginner bike doesn't mean it's dull. While it's approachable, it still has enough punch to handle highway speeds without breaking a sweat. It'll cruise comfortably at 70 miles per hour, and unlike many lightweight bikes, it doesn't feel like it's screaming at high RPMs to keep up. Riders often keep them long after they've moved up to larger machines, just because of how practical and honest the ride experience is. The styling is unremarkable in the best way. Clean lines, modest tank shape, and no attempt at pretending to be something it's not. That neutrality is what makes it so versatile. Many owners have transformed their GS 500 into cafe racers, trackers, and even mini tours with nothing more than a few bolt-ons and a weekend of wrenching. It's a platform that asks very little but gives you plenty of creative freedom if you choose to personalize it. What's even better is that the GS 500 has a quiet cult following. You'll find forums, guides, and parts listings almost everywhere online. And since Suzuki made this bike for decades, parts are cheap and widely available. Whether you need a carb rebuild kit, brake pads, or a new seat, you won't be left scrambling or forced to import parts from halfway around the world. It's not a showpiece. It's not trying to be. It's a tool that happens to be a lot of fun. That kind of humility in a motorcycle is rare these days. In a world filled with aggressive styling, unnecessary electronics, and price tags that stretch well past $15,000, the GS 500 keeps things grounded. No fluff, no pressure, just miles and miles of dependable riding. The GS 500 is the no-nonsense workhorse, but what if you wanted the same practical charm with a sharper design and just a bit more spice? The Suzuki GS 500 is a serious sleeper. What's your take? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit like if you're all about underrated bikes. Number 6. Royal Enfield Hunter 350. Some bikes don't try too hard to impress, and that's exactly why they do. The Hunter 350 isn't pretending to be something it's not. Power comes from a 349 cubic centimeters air-cooled single-cylinder engine that produces 20 horsepower and just under 20 pound-feet of torque. Braking is handled by a front disc with a dual piston caliper and a rear disc with single piston setup, all backed by a dual-channel anti-lock braking system for added confidence. The suspension features a set of telescopic front forks and twin rear shock absorbers tuned for urban and light touring use. Wet weight comes in at 381 pounds with a low seat height of 30.1 inches, making it friendly for shorter riders or those looking for something planted and easy to handle. Starting price for a brand new model is around $3,999, while used examples can be found between $2,900 and $3,000. Everything about the Hunter 350 feels curated for city riding. The upright seating position, wide bars, and featherlight clutch make stop-and-go traffic a breeze. It doesn't hustle down highways or carve up mountain switchbacks, but it was never meant to. This is a machine built for navigating side streets, winding through parked cars, and rolling up to your favorite diner without making a fuss. It's calm, it's capable, and it's got enough curb appeal to draw attention without screaming for it. The styling is a high point. A round headlight up front, teardrop tank with classic badging, ribbed bench seat, and analog digital combo gauges. It's all a nod to the past without feeling like a costume. Real metal fenders and paint that actually shines in daylight give the bike an authentic finished look. There's no fake carbon fiber or faux race plastics here, just honest materials that wear well with time. Performance-wise, it's modest. No surprises there. The single-cylinder engine isn't fast, but it's smooth enough for casual riding. Yes, it vibrates at higher revs, but many owners say that's part of its personality, not a flaw. And at around 80 miles per gallon, it's also one of the most fuel-efficient bikes you can buy in this class. Perfect for riders who want to fill up once and forget about it for a while. What really separates the Hunter 350 is how easy it is to own. Maintenance is simple, parts are available, and Royal Enfield even offers a full lineup of bolt-on accessories that won't bleed your wallet dry. Whether you want a small windshield, soft saddlebags, or custom mirrors, there's plenty to personalize without diving into the aftermarket jungle. It's also worth noting that in the United States, this bike is still flying under the radar. That means no dealership markups, no long wait lists, and a good chance that you'll be the only one riding one at your local bike night. And if you ever do want to resell it, the brand recognition and growing cult following mean you won't have to explain what it is to every potential buyer. Now let's go from street charm to full-on survival mode, a dual sport that's been quietly dominating since the early 1990s. Don't guess when it comes to gear. Everything we trust to ride with is linked below in the description. Affordable, proven, and ready when you are. Number 5. Honda XR650L. You've probably seen one parked outside a hardware store covered in mud and standing tall like it just finished punching a mountain. The XR650L doesn't try to be flashy or fast, it just works. It's powered by a 644 cubic centimeters air-cooled single-cylinder engine that puts out just over 40 horsepower and around 47 pound-feet of torque. The braking setup includes a single disc at the front and rear, offering consistent control even when things get rough. Suspension is what you'd expect from a serious dual sport, a long-travel telescopic fork up front, and a Pro-Link rear shock to soak up anything from potholes to desert whoops. Wet weight comes in at 346 pounds with a seat height of 37 inches, making it one of the tallest bikes in this category. Pricing hovers around $7,600 brand new, with used models typically ranging from $3,500 to $6,000 depending on age and condition. This isn't a motorcycle you buy to look good. It's a motorcycle you buy when you want something that just won't quit. The XR650L has been dropped in rivers, bounced off cliffs, and buried in sand. And more often than not, it's the rider that gives out before the bike. The steel frame, basic carburetor, and near-zero electronics mean there's very little to go wrong. No fuel maps, no traction control, no nonsense. That minimalism is part of its charm. There's no TFT display to scroll through, no ride modes to confuse you. Just a key, a kickstand, and a throttle that'll take you as far as you're willing to go. It feels raw, it sounds raw, and it rides like a machine built in another era, which it pretty much is. And that's a big reason riders keep coming back to it. What scares some people off is the height. At 37 inches, you're not just stepping onto this bike, you're climbing it. But if you can handle the perch, you're rewarded with unmatched visibility on the road and unbeatable ground clearance off it. It's not light by modern dual sport standards, but it carries its weight low and never feels sluggish once you're moving. Parts are everywhere. Support is massive. And unlike many modern adventure bikes, the XR doesn't rely on plastic armor or electronic crutches. It relies on proven mechanics, rider skill, and a history of going places most bikes fear to tread. That's why it's still used by explorers, ranchers, and anyone who needs a machine that laughs in the face of breakdowns. Whether you're commuting through town or tearing across fire roads, it never feels out of place. And when something eventually does wear out, chances are you can fix it in your own garage with a wrench set in a couple of hours. It's not trendy, and it doesn't want to be. It's the opposite of over-engineered. This is a motorcycle that says, just get on and go, I'll handle the rest. If reliability had a physical form, it would look like this machine. Tall, tough, and completely unfazed by the miles ahead. The XR 650L is built to take punishment, but the next bike, that one was made for comfort, speed, and daily riding ease, all wrapped in a sport bike body that no one talks about anymore. Number 4. Yamaha YZF 600R Thundercat. There was a time when every major brand had a middleweight sport bike that could do it all. Commute during the week, carve canyons on the weekend, and never complain. The Thundercat was Yamaha's answer to that call, but somewhere along the line it got lost in the shuffle. Overshadowed by track-ready machines like the R6, this bike quietly became one of the best-kept secrets in sport bike history. Under the fairing sits a 600 cubic centimeters inline 4 engine that puts out 100 horsepower, and 49 pound-feet of torque braking duties are handled by dual front discs with 4 piston calipers and a single rear disc, giving it excellent stopping power for its weight. The suspension features a fully adjustable front fork and a preload adjustable rear shock, allowing riders to fine-tune the ride whether they're hitting back roads or freeway straights. Dry weight is 417 pounds and the seat height is a manageable 31.7 inches. Pricing typically falls between $1,500 and $3,700 depending on condition and mileage. This bike was never meant to be the lightest or the most aggressive. Instead, it offered a sweet spot between pure performance and everyday usability. The engine pulls smoothly across the rev range and doesn't punish you if you're not pushing redline. It's the kind of power delivery that makes sense on real-world roads, not just on the racetrack. And when you do wind it out, it still sings like a proper sport bike without the nervous twitch or bone-jarring ergonomics of its more track-focused siblings. What sets the Thundercat apart is its balance. The ergonomics are relaxed enough for longer rides, think higher bars, wider seat, and a riding triangle that won't break your back after 40 minutes. The 5-gallon fuel tank adds real range, making it an underrated sport touring option if you swap in soft luggage and a tank bag. Riders often describe it as a gentleman's sport bike, something fast, refined, and forgiving. Styling-wise, it holds up. The rounded fairings and subtle graphics give it a 90s charm that's aging surprisingly well. It doesn't scream for attention, but it still looks sharp enough to earn a second glance. And since it never reached cult status, the used market hasn't gone crazy. You can still find well-maintained examples with low miles for less than many modern entry-level bikes. The real win, though, is the value. For under $3,000, you're getting a motorcycle that performs well above its price bracket, backed by Yamaha's reputation for reliability. Parts are plentiful thanks to shared components with other Yamaha models, and maintenance is straightforward for a 4-cylinder machine. The Thundercat didn't fail, it just got outshouted. And for buyers who care more about the ride than the hype, that's great news. It's a bike that makes sense, especially for riders who want one motorcycle that can play multiple roles without costing a fortune or sacrificing comfort. This isn't some museum piece or stripped-down cafe racer. It's a full-bodied machine built to go fast, go far, and go often. The fact that most people don't even remember it exists, that just makes it a smarter buy. That's smooth and balanced, but what if you want something straight-up weird, vintage, and loud enough to wake your ancestors? Number 3. Yezdi Roadking. Some motorcycles follow trends, others define eras. Then there are bikes like the Roadking, machines that ignore both and exist in a category all their own. Built in India during a time when simplicity met ingenuity, this 2-stroke classic wasn't designed to compete with global superstars. Power comes from a 246 cubic centimeters air-cooled 2-stroke engine that produces around 16 horsepower and 18 pound-feet of torque braking is handled by drum systems front and rear, as was standard for the time, offering more nostalgia than precision. The suspension features telescopic front forks and twin rear shocks, rugged, honest, and completely appropriate for the bike's character. It weighs approximately 315 pounds dry, with a seat height just under 31 inches. Prices for used models typically range between $1,150 and $2,400, depending on condition and location. But none of that really captures the Road King. This bike is all about feel. It smokes, it rattles, and it buzzes in your hands. And somehow, that's exactly what makes it lovable. From the oversized tank and wide bars to the absurdly brilliant shared lever that works as both the kickstarter and gear shifter, this machine doesn't just embrace quirk, it wears it like armor. It was never a high-performance motorcycle. It was never intended to chase sport bike numbers or win design awards. What it offered instead was something much harder to replicate: presence. The Road King sounds like a chainsaw and a steel drum, looks like a muscle bike that forgot to grow up, and runs on equal parts fuel, oil, and attitude. It's a throwback to when motorcycles weren't tuned by software. They were tuned by ear and rebuilt with your own two hands on a Sunday afternoon. Today, this model is considered a cult classic in India and among vintage collectors abroad. Riders restore them, race them, and show them with pride. Not because they're fast or rare, but because they've got soul, the kind you don't measure in horsepower or spec sheets. Ownership is more of a ritual than a routine. Cold starts take finesse. Maintenance is mechanical, not digital. You mix your fuel, you check your plugs, you tighten your chain by hand, and when it fires up and fills the street with blue smoke and mechanical growl, there's a sense of connection you just don't get from modern machines. Of course, it's not for everyone. The two-stroke hit is punchy but unpredictable. The brakes demand respect, and you'll have to explain it to just about everyone you meet. But if you like attention, and especially the kind that comes from other riders tipping their heads and smiling, you'll feel right at home. Parts availability can be a challenge in the United States, but online communities and passionate collectors have helped keep these bikes on the road. And when something does go wrong, repairs are usually simple and inexpensive. It's a bike that rewards patience and punishes neglect, and it makes no apologies either way. The Road King is less of a motorcycle and more of a moment captured in metal. It's strange, smoky, and unforgettable, and while the rest of the world races toward the next big innovation, this old thumper reminds us why we fell in love with riding in the first place. From vintage madness to modern refinement, the next bike is packed with tech, overlooked because of the logo on its tank. Number 2. CFMoto 300SS. Most riders won't admit it, but branding still plays a bigger role than performance when it comes to choosing a motorcycle. That's exactly why the 300SS has remained under the radar. It's not made in Japan, doesn't wear a familiar badge, and doesn't come with decades of racing history behind it. It's powered by a 292 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine with Bosch electronic fuel injection, producing 29 horsepower and 17.3 pound-feet of torque. Braking is handled by a single front disc with a 4-piston radial caliper and a rear disc with a single piston caliper, both equipped with a dual-channel anti-lock braking system. Suspension includes an inverted front fork and a monoshock rear, offering surprisingly planted handling for the class. Wet weight comes in at 364 pounds, with a seat height of 30.7 inches. The starting price for a new model is $4,599, but clean used examples are often available for less than $3,000. This bike has everything most entry-level riders dream about: modern looks, a full-featured dashboard, and user-friendly ergonomics. The 5-inch thin-film transistor display is crisp and easy to read, offering Bluetooth connectivity, gear indicators, and adjustable themes. Full LED lighting, a slipper clutch for smoother downshifts, and race-inspired styling make it feel far more premium than its price suggests. But here's the kicker. It's not just about looks. The 300SS handles with precision, thanks in part to the well-tuned suspension and rigid chassis. In the corners, it's light and confidence-inspiring, whether you're riding in traffic or hitting your favorite back road. The throttle response is smooth, and while it's not blisteringly fast, it's more than enough to keep pace with traffic and deliver weekend fun. The engine is forgiving but lively. Power builds steadily, and while it won't rocket you into the triple digits, it's a surprisingly entertaining ride, especially when pushed in the mid-range. For new riders, that predictability builds confidence. For experienced riders, it still offers enough zip to enjoy the curves without feeling like you're constantly pushing the limits. One of the few things holding it back? The badge. Many riders still hesitate when they see the name. CFMoto doesn't yet carry the same trust factor as the big four brands in the United States, and and that skepticism has kept resale prices low. But the build quality speaks for itself. Fit and finish are clean, components feel solid, and early owner reviews have been overwhelmingly positive. Service and parts availability have also improved dramatically, with more authorized dealerships popping up across the country. And since the 300SS is still a relatively new model, finding clean examples with low mileage is easy if you know where to look. It's a shame that perception continues to overshadow performance, but it's also a massive opportunity for smart buyers. You're getting a feature-loaded sport bike with real-world performance, standout styling, and a price tag that looks like a misprint. This isn't a budget bike trying to pretend it's something it's not. It's a serious contender that just happens to be made by a newer name. And for riders who care about substance more than status, that makes the 300SS one of the best values on the road today. And finally, we reach number 1. A motorcycle that's done it all, quietly crushed every role in the book, and still flies under the radar. We've done the research and dug deep into some of the most underrated motorcycles out there. What do you think? Are these bikes truly underrated, or are we just catching a trend? Leave your thoughts in the comments and give us a thumbs up if you want us to keep exploring more hidden gems in the motorcycle world. Number 1. Honda VFR 800. Some motorcycles are built to impress, others are built to last. The Interceptor quietly does both, without ever needing to shout about it. While other bikes chase the extremes of speed, style, or size, this one stays right in the middle. And in doing so, masters more roads, more riding styles, and more miles than most machines will ever see. At its heart is a 781 cubic centimeters V4 engine that delivers around 105 horsepower and 74 pound-feet of torque. Braking comes courtesy of dual front discs with 3 piston calipers and a single rear disc, supported by a combined braking system that offers smooth, stable stops in a variety of conditions. Suspension features a telescopic front fork and a rear single shock with adjustable preload and rebound, built to handle everything from solo twisty runs to fully loaded touring. Wet weight comes in around 538 pounds, and the seat height is a comfortable 31.7 inches. Used models generally range from $2,500 to $4,400, depending on year and condition. The first thing you notice when you ride the Interceptor is the smoothness. The V4 layout gives it a unique, almost turbine-like delivery of power. It doesn't surge or stumble, it flows. Whether you're winding up through the gears or cruising in 6th on the highway, the engine feels refined and planted. It's a feeling few other motorcycles replicate, and once you've ridden one, most inline 4s feel either too buzzy or too thin. This bike doesn't care if you're commuting or crossing states. It's comfortable enough for touring, nimble enough for back roads, and quick enough to surprise more focused sport machines. With its upright but sporty ergonomics, integrated fairings, and solid wind protection, it thrives in that middle ground where most riders actually live. Add a set of saddlebags and you've got a real sport tourer. Strip it down and it's ready for weekend canyon run. Part of what makes the VFR 800 so valuable is its long production run. Over 2 decades of refinement means parts are readily available, support is strong, and community knowledge is deep. If there's a question about this bike, someone's already answered it and probably posted a video showing exactly how to fix it. It's the kind of motorcycle that you can own for years, upgrade slowly, and never feel like you've outgrown it. Yes, valve adjustments can be labor-intensive thanks to the V4 layout. And no, it won't win any fuel economy awards, but these trade-offs are minor when you consider the reliability, ride quality, and versatility on offer. This bike was engineered for real-world use, not just magazine reviews. It delivers performance in a way that's consistent, predictable, and confidence-building, qualities that become more important the longer you ride. Styling is classic. There's nothing wild or gimmicky about its looks. The lines are clean, the proportions are balanced, and even older models still turn heads when properly maintained. It's the kind of motorcycle that doesn't try to be something it's not, and that honesty is what makes it stand out. In a market where bikes are often overhyped, overpriced, and overcomplicated, the Interceptor remains one of the most complete packages ever built. It doesn't need an ad campaign or a celebrity endorsement, it just needs a rider who values balance, quality, and the kind of engineering that's made to last. Before you go, don't miss our latest video on how Honda's new cruiser is changing the game and challenging Harley-Davidson like never before. Check it out now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.